wanted to find the biggest Halloween party we could find. And my son's really into Halloween, of course, which is, I assume a lot of people are. I like Halloween. We like to decorate and do some stuff like that. But so at the Magic Kingdom, they've got an event called Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, or MNSSHP. And the event is a special ticket event only, and it runs, I guess, between August 15th and October 31st, only select nights. And while we were at the Disney that week, we were able to get tickets for one of the evenings, and they sell out pretty quick. The party itself runs from around 7 p.m., runs from 7 p.m. to 12 a.m. Park closes for day guests at 6 a.m., so there's a little bit of kind of a shuffle at that point, but you can get early entry with the Halloween party ticket, so you can actually come to Magic Kingdom at 4 p.m., but the Halloween stuff doesn't get kicked off until 7. And so if you want to come and do some rides and stuff, and while it's still daylight, you have that option. And they noted it as being significantly lower crowds during this party because they cap it, but it was pretty busy while we were there, so I don't know how much less people or more people are there during the day, and how many less are there at this Halloween party, but it seemed pretty busy. It's a rain or shine event, evidently, too, so if you get some rain in the forecast, bring a poncho. So tickets and pricing, I tried to look around. They do vary depending on what time of year you go. So I guess the cheapest way to do this is to go into the August event during the weekday, and then the weekends get a little more expensive, and then the most expensive is like right around Halloween when we were there, I guess. So I think prices range between $109 and $199 per ticket. And there might be a little bit of like a $10 discount for children ages under 9 or something like that. And not too much. I'm sure there's some kind of discounts for season pass holders and so forth, but you got to book out in advance. We had to book this well out in advance, and I think they say at least 2 to 3 months because they do fill up. And this is kind of a costume event for the kids, I guess, and the adults. The adults dress up too, but they do have some different rules or policy on the costumes allowed. I guess this is the rare event that they let adults wear costumes. Kids, wear costumes to Disney or dress up like a prince or princess or something, but adults are not allowed, evidently, otherwise. But they are here. But no full face masks on adults, no sharp props, of course. They don't want any layers that drag the ground. I guess they do have a costume check station at the entrance to make sure that you're within policy for Disney. But so talk a little bit about kind of the arrival and how we enter. We drove. I wish we could have been able to take the boat. We would have saved a lot of time. So we had stayed up at Disney's Fort Wilderness, you may recall from the prior video, for 4 days that we could get in. This party, with it being pre-scheduled, we couldn't go until it was a Thursday evening, and we checked out at Disney's Fort Wilderness that afternoon. So we weren't able to take advantage. There's a ferry boat that runs across the lake there that Fort Wilderness sits on, the same as Magic Kingdom, and you can take a small ferry right to Magic Kingdom. That's definitely going to be the quickest route if you can take advantage of that. We stayed at a park just down the road in Orlando. It's actually an Orlando City Park called Bill Frederick Family Campground, and I got a video coming in the future on that one, but we were still in the area. So we had to drove in. Magic Kingdom, out of all the parks we went to, I think is kind of the most pain in the butt to get to if you're not staying on Disney Resort with transportation. So we come through the parking lot. There's a main parking lot you get in, obviously. I don't think we had to pay for parking because we were at Fort Wilderness that day, but otherwise I believe you do pay for parking if you're not staying at one of the resorts by driving. And the crews will park you in order. A couple of the parks did it this way. They don't let you go shop around for a parking spot. It's just kind of by row, and then they stack everybody in there by sections. And I presume no electric vehicle charging, at least none that I saw, but they weren't going to let me deviate from the parking plan either way, it seemed. But then you get on a tram, so they bring these trams around. Kind of cool, first ride of the day, I guess. And they take it to the next mode of transportation. But trams do not wait. They have a hard schedule, so you could be walking towards it. They could be like one person on the tram, and they'll make an announcement that they're not loading anyone else, and they take off. But there's a sister tram right behind them, getting ready to pull in. They keep that thing running on the clock. I think they had 2 or 3 in rotation. And this takes you to your next form of transportation. So it's either monorail, or you can choose to take the ferry, the boat, a bigger ferry. We were going to take the monorail, just presuming it was going to be faster than a ferry, but unfortunately it was temporarily closed when we arrived. So we took the ferry, second ride of the day. Kind of got a little bit of planes, trains, and automobiles vibe going on, just trying to get in there.
And you are?
Now, I say I think we spent about an hour getting from the parking lot into Magic Kingdom, and we would have, had I known that, we would have probably came a little sooner. I was thinking we were going to park and walk in, or jump on the monorail and hop in, but it was not that easy. And even on the boat, on the ferry, there was another ferry coming the other direction, and we had to wait and pause for them for a while. So it was a little bit of something to keep in mind. If you want to get there at 5, you need to get in the park at 5. You need to get there at 4. Yeah, so we had purchased Disney's Magic Bands. They do a few different things in the different parks, and I got some other videos coming up on some of the other parks and how they work. But one of the main things they do is they'll scan you at entry, and you can use your essentially, it's a watch band, wristband, and it scans you into the park, and then you give your fingerprint. Now, I'm told that the fingerprint is for re-entry purposes. Yeah, we were also given a temporary armband to signify our entrance into the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. I think we had just got there a little bit before 6, because they were making announcements about the park closing, and the wristband's required after 7, and then people were leaving from the day, so we got there a little before 6, I believe. But so Main Street USA, a little bit different here during Halloween. They've got orange garlands, jack-o'-lanterns everywhere. There's Mickey pumpkins on lampposts all throughout the park. They light up the castle with purple lighting, and they ghost projection like every 15 minutes when there's not a show going on. They have fog machines, I think, in Liberty Square and Adventureland and Fantasyland. Then they have different soundtracks playing, different in each land of the Magic Kingdom, spooky soundtrack loops. And I think they even have, from what I could tell, some scent machines pumping in some cinnamon near the confectionery, and then I guess I also heard that they have scent machines that smell like graveyard dirt near the Haunted Mansion. And then they have hand carved pumpkins everywhere, and I heard I think over 300 in the park. But it was warm when we arrived, plenty warm. We brought our son's costume in the backpack because it is it was like a full body, kind of a fleece setup, not super thick, but a little warm at the beginning of there. But yeah, as I mentioned, we were coming in, daygoers were leaving at 6 o'clock, and as we were working our way into the park, the employees were doing a pretty good job. They're trying to funnel the day visitors out, and like I said, we had an additional wristband. It was like a pink or yellow wristband that I signified why we were there for the party, and they had some sections that were even roped off that they were using to get people out that weren't there for the Halloween party. And then yeah, we were on the search from the beginning. We were on the search for some special Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party treats, and my son had done some research on this party, and there was these Jack and Sally cake pops that he really wanted to try, and from Nightmare Before Christmas. And we went through, we thought we could find them right there at the front at the main street, and we were kind of looping around, and it was a little hectic because the people leaving at 6 o'clock and us trying to get there. It was really crowded. We didn't have any luck, unfortunately, at the beginning. And then we went straight to Adventureland, just kind of right off of the main street there. My son wanted to ride. There's a magic carpet ride there, and let me tell you, this ride, I don't think it wasn't obvious to me before we were on it, but you will get wet on this magic carpet ride. Pretty funny. There's actually a camel that spits water on you from the side while you're rotating around. And there was even one outside while you were waiting in line, or before you got in line, but if you didn't pay attention where you're walking, you would get wet. And it was kind of shady, so it wasn't super hot at this point. But there was some moms in Halloween costumes in the magic carpet behind us, and they were not happy about getting wet first thing when they got there. And then we jumped over to the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. This ride is, I looked it up just because they've tweaked it to include Jack Sparrow from the movie series of Pirates of the Caribbean. But this was a ride that opened way back in 1973. Been here obviously much longer than the movie franchise, and then they just added Captain Jack Sparrow and some voice lines throughout it. But it's a fun little boat ride. A lot of this stuff here at Magic Kingdom is original style rides, original lands, and they kind of keep for nostalgia, I guess. But the old ride. But then, so at that point, after that, it kind of was cooling off. My son put on his costume, and we were going to do some trick-or-treating. So at this party, they have specific trick-or-treating trails. I think 13 official candy stops, and they're marked on a map you can get with like a pumpkin icon so you know where you're going. They give you a free, like reusable candy bag at the entrance when you come in, or you can bring your own evidently too. And I did see some of the places gave more candy than others, and I think it was set up on purpose. So Pirates of the Caribbean Q had one, and I think they called it even like a double candy spot. Heritage House over at Liberty Square, and then Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor. And people were pulling in a lot of candy. My wife and I didn't participate in the trick-or-treating, but there were plenty of families that everyone in the family had a bag to get candy, not just the kids. But so there's a lot of candy being had there. We also checked out one of the other older rides while we were getting around, because when you're trick-or-treating through some of these trails, you're in the lobby of a ride or you're next to it, so then we kind of funnel through. But we checked out the Jungle Cruise. This was an original ride since opening day, 1971, when Magic Kingdom had opened. Another boat ride. One thing my wife and I were joking about, there's a lot of boat rides at Disney, and I probably just with the times and the technology back then, the people movers, that was easier to do. Just get a little trough of water and throw everybody in a boat, but a lot of boat rides. We did have a comedian boat captain. I'm not sure if everyone gets the same treatment as we did.
Yeah, don't worry, I'll move it when you sit down, because I'm starting to smell it, but you stay right there. All right, watch your head, watch your step, use those handrails. Watch your head, watch your step, use those handrails. Now pick a seat that you like, everyone, because once we get moving and grooving to each other. Yes, I do not have a boating license. Amazon River, but I think the time has come for us to conquer the Congo River. So, because I live here. Yes, those are my roommates. A memory like that, you know, it really helped me with my job.
But yeah, it was fun. And then more trick-or-treating, of course. I mentioned that there was a performance area with one of the bear shows and kind of funneled you through. Some of the lines were really short and outside, and others you would kind of zigzag through some of the different attractions. And then, of course, we were over, which is a big popular set, would be the Haunted Mansion. It's very popular. Another original ride that opened in 1971. I remember this ride from when I was younger. I was here sometime, I don't know, either young. I was a child. I don't recall what year we were there, but I remember this ride pretty well. And the line wasn't too bad. We were able to get through it pretty quick. They had live actors in the queue and ghost host interactions, which was cool when they were talking with the people walking in and things.
My name is Renata. Everybody say hi, Renata.
And then after the Haunted Mansion, we fortunately did find the special Jack and Sally Cake Pops from Nightmare Before Christmas. And it turns out the location we got them closed like 5 minutes later. There may have been a couple others, but it was kind of hard to figure all that out with some of the searches online of where to get them and where we thought we could get them. And maybe that changes from time to time. But they also have a lot of other food and exclusive merchandise just for this party. If you're going to get food, I would probably recommend use the app and kind of do a mobile order, because they were pretty busy. And then everything's kind of going on. You feel like you're missing something, or with the event. But they evidently also sell a not so poison apple cupcake at the Main Street Bakery. Jack's Candy Apple Martini, obviously a 21 and up drink at the Tune In Lounge. Constance's for Better or Worse Wedding Cake was mentioned at the Liberty Square Market. And then the Oogie Boogie's Mousse over at Petco's Bills. And there was supposed to be a Mummy Mickey waffle at Sleepy Hollow. We didn't partake in any of those, but there's more, if you want to do something. They have specialty items and foods out there that just are for sale during the party. And then they do this up at the castle. They do this huge Hocus Pocus Villain Spectacular, I think is what it's called. And you've got it's exclusive just to this party at Magic Kingdom. You got the Sanderson sisters, of course, Winifred, Mary, and Sarah. And then they work in some Disney villains, Maleficent and Oogie Boogie's in there, Evil Queen, Hades. I think Captain Hook and a couple of them make it through the performance. And they do I think 3 to 4 shows per night. So we caught one fully, and then there was another one going on. We were on a ride, but I recommend checking that. It was pretty fun. And about 15 to 20 minutes. And they do a lot of really cool stuff with the castle at night. When I was a child, I think all I really remember there being is fireworks at the castle, but they still do fireworks, of course, but they do a lot of the really high-end projections on all different parts of the castle to make it look like it's really cool. Really powerful projectors, I'm guessing. We checked out the area called Tomorrowland. There was Tomorrowland has always been there, I believe, but there was a new interaction called Monster Inc. Laugh Floor. It was a trick-or-treat location, so we were kind of heading over there for that. But then we sat down for a bit. It was kind of cool. It wasn't very busy. It appears to be there's a live comedian somewhere in the building, and they have some type of avatar on the screen. Looks like a Monster Inc. style avatar, and then they interact with the crowd. But it was pretty fun. My son was laughing a little bit, and they were interviewing a family from London, and anyway, it was a fun little thing. And plus, I assume it's a good little break if you want to check it out. It's not too busy. And then we went over in Tomorrowland. There's a People Mover ride. It wasn't very popular, at least then, and I don't know how old this one is. Kind of a slow, cruises you around the park, trying to tell you about the park, and some of the original designs and so forth are in there. Something to do. It was a little longer than I expected. Once you're on the ride, it felt like it took a little while. And then probably one of the most popular things is the Mickey's Boo to You Halloween Parade. And they run two. One runs at 8:15 and one runs at 11:30. And they run about 25 minutes. So the 11:30 one's like right before close. And they run from, I think they start in Frontierland through Liberty Square to the hub and then down through Main Street. And at the very beginning, the Headless Horseman will gallop about 5 minutes out in front. And he'll finish the route. We set up towards the entrance exit area. I mean, we went to the 11:30 one just because we thought it was going to be less busy. It was not less busy. I mean, I guess it could have been, but it was packed. We set up towards the entrance thinking it would be quicker to get out, but because we were at the end of the parade, like people were shuffling from the other parts by the time it got to us, and it got pretty busy. But they had a lot of cool stuff going on. I think my son's favorite, he said, was the Gravedigger Spark dragging routine. Yeah, it was fun. Parade's a must see. You got to see see both of them, different parts of the park, but it was cool. They had a lot of cool music playing and singing, and the actors were really good. And yeah, pretty fun. So then at that point, it's closing time, right before midnight, right at midnight, and we exit the park. Now, fortunately enough, the monorail was open for the exit back to the tram rides. So it was much faster to ride the monorail than the boat. So that was nice. Now, like I said, I mentioned if you're at Fort Wilderness, you would get on a different boat, a smaller boat, and that was probably even quicker. It was a late night. You kind of expect that. That's why we didn't go exactly at 4, but it's a late night. And yeah, overall, we had fun. The characters were really cool. It seemed very busy. Like I said, although it's advertised as being capped with less people than during the day, it seemed packed to me, at least. I mean, I didn't count everybody, but it was packed. Magic Kingdom, we've got a couple other parks coming up that we're going to review after this. Rides are old, but classic. We didn't do everything, obviously, there. But the party adds some extra flair that I think a little bit different experience than you would have just during a day trip to the Magic Kingdom. But it's probably their most famous park, I'm guessing. It's just, I don't think it's the one we like the best. And I got a couple more videos, 3 more videos of parks coming out for Disney, and we'll talk about that. But I think it's a if you can do it and you're there in that time, I think it's a must do. If your kids like Halloween, or if you like Halloween, there's plenty of adults there without kids and enjoying, and they obviously sell 21 and up drinks and stuff, and they have some different areas for adults. And I got a cruise ship back here getting ready to leave, it sounds like. I am at Cape Canaveral right now, over here at the Canaveral Inlet, and they've got cruise ships the last few days coming and going. Pretty neat. But yeah, up next, we head over to Typhoon Lagoon. I was there like 25 or 30 years ago, whenever it was. I was at Disney World. Really awesome water park. I was able to take the GoPro with me and try to get a lot of footage in the water and on the water rides and stuff, but super cool water park. And I'm going to get that out as soon as I can. I got a little video to edit, as you might imagine. But if you're still with me, I appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.